Hey then, guys, let's get ready for today's stream. Let me make sure all my stuff is up and running. Make sure that it's running. Okay, good. Get comfy in my seat. Alright then, let's go do a mission right now, and then after this mission, once more people are in chat, maybe we'll start looking at some of the Zero Company information, such as I don't know, unit classes and stuff. I think that'll be fun to go over with you guys right before. Man, Zero Company's finally coming tomorrow. It feels like XCOM 3, even though it's not actually XCOM 3. Okay then, yep, stream is running good. Okay, let's start scanning over resistance back. I think I'll just scan right here for now. There we go, mission is ready, let's go launch it. Was this the team with the really big guns? I think it is. Okay, the Muton has the really big gun. Well, I gotta look at the Muton a little bit more.
You may want to instruct your men to exercise restraint when using explosives. Explosives. Explosives.
I gotta see this guy. Oh my goodness. His gun is larger than the clone trooper itself. Oh, Nagaratep. You are certainly a very special looking Muton. Okay, let's see. The evac zone is there. Let me actually make sure my microphone is also working, because the last few times I've streamed, the microphone was completely off. Yep, it should be on right now. Hey then. I want to get a better look at Nagaratep. 1 second here. This one random these people don't see it. We're in stealth. It's okay. We're in concealment. We're in concealment. They can't see us yet. Oh, Nagaratep.
Understood. Moving out.
Okay, let's get the rest of the clone squad all the way up and running. Right up over here.
Move. C'est parti.
And we'll take Nagaratep and probably just keep right here for now. Let's go into the XE. Oh, right now Mr. Computer is off. I gotta do some maintenance on him. So no Mr. Computer for today, guys. You see this huge alien with the human-sized gun 2 meters away from me? What the heck are you talking about, Jimbo? I love how they just don't see Nagaratep over here running around. I think the gun is so massive it would normally be clipping through the floor. It's just that he happens to be standing on an elevated surface right now. Let's actually see what it looks like. Well, yeah, it clips through the floor otherwise. I can't wait to shoot that gun and watch it do like 2 damage.
No need to ask twice.
How's it going, Morbin? Welcome back, sir.
Time. Bien reçu, je bouge.
The role of a scout is to hunt down enemy troops.
On overwatch.
Okay. We hear some enemies. Evac zone is here. People to be rescued are there. Let's try to secure the evac zone first, so I'm gonna just start moving my squad this way. I know some people might wonder like why I choose to move my units out in the open rather than directly into cover, and that's mostly just because I want to cover a little bit of extra distance, and I'm fairly confident that I won't get revealed. It's also a little bit more exciting when you reveal enemies by accident and you're completely out in the open.
Let's do this.
Okay, so nothing here so far. I feel like peeking over this ledge is a tiny bit risky. I think we'll go higher. The higher your elevation, I think the less likely you are to get found.
Je m'en occupe.
You know, I wish we had a bit more time to play Beyond Legendary Plus stuff so I can implement more of this stuff, but with Zero Company coming out, I feel like I'm a lot less motivated to just like balance everything out, and mostly just want to get myself hyped up in the mood for tactics games and stuff. I own you, Ronar. Well then, I don't think my girlfriend's gonna be very happy to hear that. How's it going, Blade Walker? Okay, so after we're done with this mission, we're going to go open up some wiki with the Zero Company information on it, and we're gonna go through like all the classes, maybe look at some of the perks or whatever they're called. I think they're called talents in that game or something. And we're gonna get a slightly better idea of how characters are built in that game. And maybe we'll try to see what kind of characters we want to build on our first playthrough, things like that. I'd like to see what you guys want to see also. I love this giant gun. Okay, I think we're gonna immediately start fighting these guys as soon as I get the chance. We got 3, 5, 6. So we found 6 of the enemies on the map already. Here comes the Advent Sniper. We're gonna kill this guy first just because he's a complete asshole. Biotrooper is also a complete asshole, so we kind of want that guy dead too. Oh, you get found. Hello.
Etiquette is all just a show.
First shot. Look at his tiny gun.
Come on! Échange de position!
Wait, I want to see this mutant just bayonet a guy. Oh, we just got zone controlled so hard. That is unfortunate. Will this cause him to react? It does not. Okay, good. Get a little bit of free damage off against this. Oh, interesting. It does react, but it reacts after. Reaction abilities tend to act weirdly when you activate an ability versus like a direct shot. Okay, we want to finish this thing off, but I also want to throw a grenade. I really badly want to grenade that Advent Sniper. I think that'll just straight up kill him if I land one of these. Let's see if we can get that going. I'll throw a grenade right onto this vehicle. I know if you like land it directly on the window or something, you can ensure that it blows up the thing. I hope that works. There we go. Okay, Advent Sniper removed. And then after that, we just gotta finish off the remaining guys. I kind of want to have Nigard to kill someone here. I'm also going to have our Hell Knight maybe move? Maybe just shoot? I think we just shoot. Nice kill, okay. I was wondering if we were within range of the what's it called? The close combat specialist, but I guess we weren't. And then after that, we have enough movement with that double tap to move you up to here. For some reason, I'm not able to shoot this guy. Thank you very much for the sub! Much appreciated, CXC!
Can't wait for 1 month of theory crafting before the first CCOM mission lol.
1 month of theory crafting. Hey, maybe. When I'm like first looking at all the classes, I'm gonna like be talking a bunch to myself like, oh boy, I can't wait to plan out how I want to build this character, only for me to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna build this character a different way halfway through. Yeah, let's see what the bayonet slash looks like with this gun. Oh god, that looked brutal. That looked absolutely brutal.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, you're next to die. Thought off shotgun to the face, please. Done. Alright, excellent first encounter here. Not bad at all. The snake probably hears us. I'm curious if it's under alert. It probably is, right? It's gotta be. Let's see if someone gets shot to death. Uh-oh. Hey guys, we have a new subscriber. Good dodge. And thank you very much for the sub, Bobo! Welcome back, Bobo!
Hello Ronner and chat Ronner 1 hi.
J'en ai marre de poireauter.
Are you ready for Zero Company tomorrow, Bobo?
Mangez ça!
Okay, first we're gonna pop that guy's bases. There we go. And now we can focus on killing him. I'm thinking we just slash him in the face. That should be fine. I want to try shooting with this guy's gun, but bayonet slash is just so much better than shooting directly with that gun. One dead Viper, and all that's left is the grub. Unfortunately, with the shotgun, we will not have very good shots here.
I hope it's worth it.
We're gonna do the absolute insane thing of standing out in the open and just taking direct shots because I can't be bothered to think of a solution for this. I like a little tiny gun.
That didn't do much.
Yeah, it didn't do much because you're using a tiny gun. Unfortunately, we weren't able to kill the thing, but this thing doesn't really do too much damage. At least not that I remember. 1 damage acid ticks.
Ah, that didn't feel good.
Okay, we're finally no longer disoriented here down there. What I think I'll do next is I'll just run you all the way up. We've encountered 6 of the 7 to 9 enemies on this map. Almost done here. Do a little bit of damage. Ooh, let's try shooting with the big gun. Seems like the particles are working properly, so the shot is exiting from the gun at the proper distance, not like from where it normally would look. Tiny gun!
Intéressant. Vous en voulez encore?
I hope we get to use tiny guns in Zero Company. If we don't, 0 out of 10 game.
There better be something there.
Hey, no worries, we're all gonna be kind of heading into it blind. I'm like not completely blind, but I kind of didn't like super look at all the information about the game.
Covering now.
Oh, last 2 enemies? 3 enemies, uh-oh. No yellow alert actions though, that's pretty good. Let's go kill the last few guys. The most dangerous thing here is most likely going to be that sentry, so we're just gonna run all the way up to that guy and just knock him out instantly. Dead. Nagaratep has just not even shot this gun more than once this mission. He's just been running around beating people in the face with it.
C'est pas trop tôt.
I mean, if it works, I guess.
Good to go.
I think we'll activate our double time. Maybe try to shield bash a guy. How about this? How about we...
Whatever you say.
How about we start by grenading this guy back here first. We'll see if that pillar breaks. If it doesn't break, then we will throw more grenades, I guess, or something. And it does break, actually. Very convenient. Can we shoot him to death, please? Nice shot. Tiny gun shot.
Just lucky they don't.
I love the tiny gun. And then after that, we have the Frost Trooper over here. Unfortunately, killing him is going to be a little bit challenging. I think we'll just go for a melee shield bash and then zap him with combat protocol.
I got a piece.
I don't think we can kill him right now.
Ready for reconnaissance.
We do have a rescue protocol if I want to use that. Here, let's use rescue protocol on Oxford here. That way Oxford can just not get shot without armor. If the civilian wasn't occupying that slot, I'd actually go there.
Problem, boss.
But that's alright, though. Ale them out, even with all the buffs, they still can't land their shots. Oh, Frost Legion.
Faut pas que ça traîne.
Just getting pistol whipped by like a massive fucking cinder block of a gun. Alright, that should be all the enemies. We're gonna head inside, do the hack, and we are going to head to
J'en ai
the
marre
back.
de poireauter.
Everybody else just start running forward. I guess I should be worried about gun turrets. That can be a problem. get inside of here? I think we can go from upstairs. Upstairs, everybody will head down. Where's the evac? Here.
Stepping off.
How's it going, Neko? Have you played ZCOM, Ronar? No, I have not yet. I will be seeing ZCOM for the first time along with you guys.
Getting it done.
Hey then.
Solid copy. Bien sûr, je bouge. Multiple hostiles advancing on our
Reinforcements.
position.
Wait, did I just run this guy upstairs and then back down? Maximum efficiency, just the way Ronar likes it. Yeah, I'm gonna put you in here so we don't go do that. Okay, everyone else over here should be on Overwatch.
En vigilance.
Enemies are dropping. Ooh, behind us actually. Oh, Mr. Computer's off for maintenance right now. I'll have him back up online sometime eventually, once I work on him a little bit more. Hey, nice, I got the alloys. You know, one of the things that I kind of missed about Long War 1 was always feeling like I never had enough alloys and Elerium to do things, which, for some reason, I didn't really feel that pressure in terms of resources in, like, Long War 2, Long War the Chosen. But, ever since playing Beyond Legendary, I've been feeling that crunch again. I was like, oh man, I really feel like I'm missing out on resources all of a sudden. Okay, we're just gonna sit here in Overwatch. I'm too lazy to find cover.
It's killing time.
Imagine, like, you hear over the radio, your commanding officer is like, yeah, I'm too lazy to find cover for my troops, so we're just gonna stand out in the open in Overwatch. Hello, please don't yellow alert me. Okay, double Overwatch. How do we get past double Overwatch? I could run up and slash this guy in the face. We can also interference with that guy so he can't do his thing. Let's interfere with that guy. Okay, so we have one less to Overwatch that we have to worry about, and I think everyone else can... Oh, they can almost make it out, but not quite. We can hide behind the walls over here. If we hide behind the walls over there, then we don't have to worry about them being able to shoot us anymore. So that's a good idea, I think. Yeah, all of these guys are like just barely not able to reach, unfortunately. Is it because this guy's in the way? If I move you out of the way, can you reach? Oh, okay, maybe you could have reached if I had just moved that guy out. We got episode 0 over here. There we go, he's out.
Position secure to civilian contact.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna run you back to here. Close the door to make sure nothing on the other side can actually shoot at you guys, and you guys will just sit still. And then everyone else over here, I guess you guys can just go home or something. Here's what we'll do actually. Let's make sure this engineer doesn't flashbang our entire team. I'm gonna hit both of these guys with a flashbang. The rest of you guys can go home, so I don't have to worry about you guys anymore. And the rest of you guys should be able to run out freely. Pretty good. And there we go. Alright then, good mission you guys. Let's head on back home. There we go. Good job, Charter Clone Troopers. You will be giving away free ZCOM Steam keys at the cool content creators do, right, Ronar? I do not have Steam keys for ZCOM, guys. I'm sorry. Do people actually do that? I mean, if you're not like a massive content creator, I feel like most people don't do that. How's it going, Vexus?
Destroy all we have built. To return us to the chaos of the old
Oh, sorry, I
world.
didn't see you there, Ludano.
Only together can we oppose them. Unite.
Okay, guys, taking this back home. Let's give a look at some Zero Company stuff now that more people have popped into chat.
Well done, Commander. It's always good for morale when we ace a mission like that.
We'll have like the ambient Avenger music in the background while we do this. Wait, we all don't have ZCOM already pre-downloaded? I have it pre-downloaded. I'm just waiting for it to actually release tomorrow. Okay, let's go look at the classes of ZCOM. So Star Wars Zero Company features a 12 classes. Oh wow, 12 classes? That's a lot considering you only get 4 people per mission. Covering a range of combat roles in the game. In-game, the system is labeled Specialization, and the 2 words mean the same thing throughout this wiki. Classes are divided into standard 8 classes available to most recruits, and exotic 4 classes restricted to story characters. Okay, so you'll have like hero characters basically. Kind of like how we have like skirmishers, Templars, and stuff. So you'll get one of those. Talent, a fixed or pooled ability unique to the operator, separate from the class. Weapon class, one of 4 weapon types: long arm, repeater, rifle, or pistol. I'm assuming long arm would be like a sniper rifle. Rifle is like the standard rifle, I guess. Pistol, I think we know what that is. Repeater, I'm assuming, is like a machine gun of some sort, or like a Gatling gun type thing. I just brought DD2, so that's my spending budget right now. Ooh, DD2. The operator's main class chosen at creation later. Primary specialization, and then secondary specialization. A second class unlocked midway through the campaign, creating a dual class. Okay, so you can multi-class in this game. Interesting. The secondary specialization is the same system as the primary. So, you know, at first I was thinking like, oh man, you won't be able to see all 8 of the classes because you only get 4 soldiers at a time. But I guess in a sense you do get to see all 8 because you get the multi-class. So between 4 soldiers with 2 classes, you'll get to use everything here. The selection screen labels the slots Spec 1 and Spec 2, and a class equipped in one slot is locked in the other. So an operator cannot take the same specialization twice, so you have to multi-class, it seems. Talent, weapon class, and specialization are chosen at separate steps of operator creation and are fully independent of each other. Any weapon can be paired with any class and any universal talent with any combination of the 2. Alright, so let's go look at the classes here. Whoa, they have a loadout builder already. Alright, so we have the Assault. Is it going to be the same as the XCOM assaults that we know? Frontline fighter that excels at maneuvering to score medium to close range kills against targets hiding in cover. You know, one thing I noticed is that there isn't a shotgun type weapon up here. Interesting. And they have, okay, so they have ultimates, so they have like activatable abilities. It seems like unlike XCOM, you won't have like a bunch of different abilities. It's like one ability for each person to activate, it seems. You have the Gunslinger. I'm assuming this is like a pistol type class. Specializes in multi-target blaster attacks and fast strikes across numerous targets. Okay, kind of like face-off and stuff in XCOM. You'll probably end up shooting everything on the map multiple times or something like that. Rip shotgun. We got the Heavy. Frontline combatant, thickly armored and tough, specializes in survivability and soaking up attacks while in the open. Okay, so the Heavy is more of a tank. I was thinking like the Heavy would have like a rocket launcher or something, but it's more like a tanky armored unit, it seems. Medic. Excels at healing and prevention of injuries, can also boost teammates physically and psychologically. Alright. I'm assuming this will be very similar to the way we play the medics in Long War 1, where they act sort of as healers as well as support. Scoundrel. Wildcard, adept at taking advantage of situations without much preparation, making the most of every opportunity. You guys think this would be like the mercenary in Beyond Legendary, where you get to just kind of be able to do everything, a little bit of everything at a time? The return of Ronar, man. I wonder if there's going to be ways to stack up mobility. I would imagine that would be under scout if we were to try doing a fast-moving soldier. Tactical operator trained in ambush and reconnaissance. Planning and timing benefit the entire team, creating opportunities. Sharpshooter, expert marksman excelling at long-range engagements, focus on singling out and defeating chosen enemies. Okay, so this is basically the sniper. Oh, okay, this would be like the heavy weapons guy, the soldier. Mainstay offensive unit engaging at close to medium range with melee grenades, heavy blaster fire, and a rocket launcher. So this would be closer to like the heavy that we recognize from XCOM 1 and the grenadier from XCOM 2. Okay, so we have like somewhat of an idea of what these classes do. What class are you guys most excited for? I think when I finally do like a proper sign-up sheet, maybe I'll let people create specifically what class they want. Because from what it's describing, it seems like non-hero type units will end up being able to just get customized in the character creator, it seems. So I think it might be fun to let people kind of pick their own classes. Gunslinger? Ooh, we got a pistol liker here. Where's the giant mech? Where's the giant robots, guys? I think medic would be interesting. Ooh, Ladonal's a medic guy. I don't know what I would want. I almost want to say I want to be like a scoundrel or something with my character. In fact, what would a scoundrel be like in terms of like the Star Wars setting? At first I was thinking like, oh, it would be like a Han Solo type character maybe, but I was thinking about it, I'm like, isn't Han Solo type characters or like Cad Bane more like a gunslinger? What would like a scoundrel be exactly? Kind of like one of those mercenary bounty hunter type characters, but there's already a Mandalorian character. There's already like gunslinging type people which kind of fill that role. So I'm trying to picture what a scoundrel is in the game settings. Sharpshooters are always satisfying. It's true. Snipers are one of my favorite units in like all of these types of games, but I never see myself playing as a sniper. I just like using them. Han Solo would be scoundrel still, I think. Fair enough. The way they word it seems like it implies that it can probably use any type of weapon. I don't know if all the classes can use every weapon or if they have to. Let's see. Operator's combat kit is built from 4 components. Okay, it seems like they are locked to a specific type of weapon. So I guess if I were to imagine, I would imagine like Assault would probably use the rifle, Gunslinger with the pistol, the Heavy would probably use the repeater. I don't know what the Medic would use. Scoundrel, I guess if we had to pick one, it would probably be a pistol. Scout, probably rifle, right? Although pistol sounds like it would kind of make sense for a scout too. Sharpshooter is definitely the long arm rifle carrier type unit. I don't know if there would be anything else that carries a long arm though. And then the soldier, I'm thinking would be either repeater or rifle. Jack of all trades type character? Yeah, kind of, I guess. The kind of guy that would like find any gun out in the field and just pick it up and start shooting it type thing. That's kind of what the scoundrel is what I would imagine. Okay, let's look at what the ultimates do. Every class ultimate is paid from the shared advantage pool rather than from action points. Okay, that's interesting. So you use a resource that's shared between the entire team. So most likely what you'll end up doing is I feel like how we imagine it is we use the right ultimate for the right situation, but what'll actually happen is you'll have like a specific carry. Like for example, maybe AoE Rocket Strike is just like the best thing in the game and you just spam that one over and over again. And then in certain situations you might use Precision Shot and stuff, but I feel like you might end up using the ultimates of like specific characters more and then not as much for the other characters. We'll see though. Maybe they balance it a lot better than I imagined. In Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Scoundrel class was a stealth plus lock. Oh, a stealth class. Interesting. Okay. We have the Assault Sweeping Salvo. Damage and Disoriented to all units in a large cone. I wonder how similar Disoriented will be to the XCOM Disorient abilities. Alright, so you have a AoE damage and disorient type ability. I wonder if this will like factor in cover and stuff, or if it'll just be like guaranteed damage. Gunslinger, open fire. Fire 2 times at any combination of enemies. Bulwark taunts all enemies in the target area, +2 defense for the turn. Interesting. Okay, so this guy is like truly a tank. He's not got anything involving like suppression or anything like that. He has a taunt on him. +2 defense. I'm assuming defense is going to be like more like dodge rather than actual armor points. So he can make himself really hard to hit and then taunt everything around him. This operator and nearby allies rise to 4 stacks of morale. I don't know what morale is, but it sounds important, I guess. Marks an enemy so the scoundrel assists the next ally to attack it. Okay, so it's like follow-up shots, kind of. Like, remember how in Beyond Legendary we had the Sentinel class? How when someone else shot at a target, the Sentinel would just randomly pull out a gun and start shooting at them. So that's kind of like what that's supposed to be, I think. Surprise attack. Damage scales with the advantage spent. Okay, so this is like the ambusher type thing. I guess it would be kind of like sneaking up to a group of enemies and then street sweepering them all or trench gunning them all with a shotgun in XCOM. Calculated blaster shot that always hits, so probably like the Deadeye or the precision shot from XCOM 2. It always hits though, so this is like a guaranteed way of getting DPS off. Interesting. Rocket that explodes on impact, damaging all enemies in the blast. Okay, so we have somewhat of an idea. Alright, reading between the ultimates and the classes, have your opinions changed on your favorite classes yet so far? I think for a main character, I think the main character would be best at being a supporting type unit. So something like a medic would be quite nice. The Scoundrel and its follow-up shot abilities seem like it would probably fit the main character a little bit too. And looking at the character of Hawks in the trailers, I feel like he'd be very fitting as a Scoundrel. Maybe as a scout or something. The way I see him in all the trailers, he's always holding like a pistol. He almost looks like kind of like a smuggler, like the Western cowboy type of look. Still like medic, I'm a sucker for support classes. I'll make sure to keep that in mind when I make your character, Ladonnell. We'll make sure to reserve a medic slot for you. Okay, and then here's the hero classes. We have the Jedi Padawan, locked to Telray. So you get only one Jedi Padawan, if I remember correctly, and if this person dies, then you lose them forever. Built around Force abilities and dual lightsaber combat, confirmed abilities include Force Push, which moves an enemy out of cover and can push it into friendly Overwatch zone, and a Force Pull, named by the Forceful Trophy. A custom Jedi recruit is not possible. The Jedi belongs to Tel Rhea, and BitReactor has confirmed that if Tel Rhea dies under permadeath, the Jedi Padawan class is gone for that campaign. Mandalorian locked to Clive Culervo, centered on her jetpack and Mandalorian gear. The jetpack is her combat jump unique talent and persists even if Clive respecs into a standard class. Unlike other exotics, the Astromech class is not locked to a single named character. It is tied to any droid created through the in-game droid builder, where each unit type has different abilities and its own personality. PC Gamer described the Astromech they fielded as support/crowd control focused, and BitReactor confirms Astromechs unlock early in the game, with a full Astromech team possible as soon as they can be recruited. Hawks is required on story missions, but every other slot can always be an Astromech. Developers cited loadouts include Astromechs packed with firebombs, thermal detonators, and droid poppers. Okay, so the Astromechs can actually fight. They're not just purely support like an R2-D2 type thing. Astromechs are also the only operators that can take the built-in Comlink universal talent. I saw the animation for this, and this thing looks really cool. It created like a holographic image of the entire map and characters in front of the Astromech or something. It looked really cool, the image for it at least. Okay, so this is what the UI looks like. The fourth exotic class is confirmed to exist, but it remains a secret. Okay. Every operator has a talent, a distinct layer from their class, carrying an ability that is always active regardless of which class the operator is assigned to. Each operator starts with one talent and one specialization. For authored story characters, talent is fixed and tied to their identity. For custom operators, players select from the pool of universal talents below. Hawks has a unique talent, Fearless Leader, that persists through any specialization change. Separately from the talent, Hawks can spend advantage to refresh 1 AP for any squad mate once per turn. Talents have their own page with the full pool to fixed talents belonging to story operators and rank values for both. See talents. 11 named, 10 selectable by any custom operator, and 1 restricted to astromechs. 2 of them, Thievery and Espionage, pay out in credits and intel on the strategy layer rather than in combat. Authored operator talents, 1 per story operator, fixed to that character and unavailable to custom recruits. Every talent is upgradable in the focus tree, the universal pool to rank 4 and the authored talents as high as rank 6. Okay, so we know that the levels go up to at least level 6. Interesting. 4th class will just be Anakin. You think so? It'll be like Jedi Knight as the final class? I feel like that'd be kind of cheesy, but I can kind of see that maybe. Where it's like Jedi Padawan is one of the exotic classes, and maybe Tel Rhea eventually upgrades to Jedi Knight halfway through the story. If she doesn't die, that is. Okay then. Class synergies. Cross-class combinations named in official material. Medic plus Gunslinger. Combat sims grants simulant, increasing range damage across the Gunslinger's shot output. Oh, okay. So there's little combinations like that. Scoundrel plus Sharpshooter. Identify weakness, applies vulnerable, allowing the Sharpshooter's next attack to critically hit. Advantages and ultimate. Every class has an ultimate ability that requires a large spend from the squad's shared advantage pool. Smaller abilities also draw from the advantage pool without consuming action points. The squad gains +1 advantage each time it successfully damages an enemy. So this game's going to really reward you for staying on the offensive. If you play too defensively and you don't start damaging enemies, you don't get your abilities, and I can see that compounding into like kind of a desperate situation where like if you keep trying to heal your guy, bring them back up or something, then you're just eventually going to lose the firefight. So it's important to just play like a complete knucklehead, which I am thankfully very good at, if you guys have seen my XCOM gameplay. So I guess this kind of fits my playstyle quite well, actually. Any character can respec into any standard class at any time. Exotic classes. Okay, so you can respec your soldiers at any time. There's no need to worry about like building your character wrong. Exotic classes cannot be reassigned. They are locked permanently to their respective story characters, and their abilities cannot be granted to custom recruits. Each authored operator's unique talent persists through a respec, so the talents listed under authored operator talent stay active, whatever standard class the character is moved to. Interesting that they say that, because I can imagine some classes or some characters, for example, maybe there's a character that's like has an ability that would be really good as a sharpshooter, but they start off as like a gunslinger, so everyone's just gonna respec them immediately to being a sharpshooter right off the bat. I could see that happening. Respecking is done from the focus tree tab in the personnel facility, blah blah blah. Operators start with 1 specialization, but a second specialization can be added deeper into the campaign, chosen from the same focus tree tab. A second specialization means an operator's ability ring can carry abilities from 2 classes at once, which is worth bearing in mind when reading combat footage. A single operator showing abilities from 2 different kits is not necessarily evidence of a misattribution. Okay. Let's see if we can look at the list of talents, maybe? Oh, we can. Okay. So this is kind of like your XCOM row in Beyond Legendary, except you get one of these. The bigger they are, powerful damage bonuses against the galaxy's most dangerous targets, improves the bonus when you upgrade it. I see, so you start with a talent, and when you level up, you upgrade your talent, rather than getting like new perks like in XCOM. The operator anticipates and evades enemy attacks. Cold-blooded. Operator gains vicious, letting them score critical hits easily. Taunt. Forces enemies to attack this operator instead of allies. I'm curious whether or not this is the same taunt as the one that the heavy class has, because that might end up getting redundant unless you want to have like another class act as sort of a tank in a sense. The Life of Labor grants additional health and defense, steals additional credits during missions, detonates a variety of objects commonly found on the battlefield. This one's sort of interesting. This reminds me of the Reaper's what's it called? Remote start ability or remote detonation. I forgot what it was called. Espionage. Picks up additional intel during missions. The operator temporarily gains invulnerable, ignoring damage from an incoming attack. Okay, so one incoming attack can be tanked with this guy. This will be really good if you have like a singled out boss unit and you just have this one guy repeatedly use invulnerability against them. Grants additional defense while injured. An integrated comlink that provides additional action points to allies. So this is for the astromechs. Two statuses come from this list rather than any other class ability. Universal talent ranks. Every universal talent runs to rank 4, a shorter track than the 6 ranks most class abilities reach. The upgrade paths differ in kind as well as degree. Some raise a number, some loosen a usage limit. And anticipation for... what's anticipation again? Evading enemy attacks changes the target, extending the buff from the operator to an ally. Okay. So it's not all just like flat number increases. It can become like little utility bonuses for your allies too. Like here's a list of all abilities. All third operator talents. So the main character will have increased assist damage, defense for all operators. I don't know, for my first playthrough, should I use story characters or should I just immediately start building characters for viewers? Because there's a lot of story characters, so I can imagine like just playing through the entire story without using any of the viewer characters. Hey Ronar, do you have a new computer to run the game? I've had a new computer for a while actually, Goldskin. Shoot, is that an insect? There's an ant killing an insect on the wall on the side. Whoa, that's cool as heck. Alright, sorry. But yeah, I actually had a new computer for a while actually, which is why you might notice that my XCOM games haven't been requiring 5 minutes to load every single time we ran a new mission. Grand Admiral Thrawn, very intelligent and brilliant strategist. Oh, you're replying to that other guy asking you what your favorite villain was. Thrawn was a pretty cool character. I've never actually seen the series that he was from, but I would always see like YouTube shorts describing what he was like, and I'm like, damn, that's a pretty cool villain. Yeah, it is really nice, isn't it? And it'll be just in time for Zero Company also. Name the ant cam. The ant cam? Let me see the stanza. Oh shit, he finished eating that other insect. It's dead. It looks like it was caught on a spider web, but the spider kind of evacuated the web already, so the ant's just eating the insect off of the web. That's actually really cool. Do you guys also have spider webs in your rooms? Like the one corner in your room that you never go to, and then like some spider just one day decides to occupy that corner, and they're just like, all right, I'm gonna let that spider have that corner of the room. He owns it. He gets that part of the room. Okay, so here's all the talents. Now, I know there's no way you guys will actually remember everything, but have you guys like started thinking about like what characters you guys would want to see me use on stream maybe? I'm thinking if I were to make my own custom character, obviously I'll be using Hawks, but if I were to make my own character, what kind of character would I want to make? I would want to make like one of those like cool bounty hunter type characters in a sense. So maybe I'd have something like... I'm trying to think about like bounty hunter characters in the show and stuff. Things that come to mind are like things like Jango Fett, Boba Fett, those are classics, Cad Bane, those types of people that like present trouble even for like Jedi people, but they don't have like force powers themselves. So probably something thematic to that maybe would be like probably one of these two abilities up here, followed by the Scoundrel class with maybe Gunslinger secondary, although Assault and Sharpshooter would be cool secondaries for something like that too, where it's like they're normally gonna just whip out a pistol and shoot things, but every once in a while they can whip out like a sniper rifle or something. Yeah, I think that's how I would make my own character. If I were to make my own character in a character pool, I would probably pick Scoundrel as primary and then probably some sort of combat ability. One of these two up here. Either like be really hard to kill or really good at killing stuff. I'd probably pick the really hard to kill type stuff. I guess Grit or Fortitude might be something I'd also pick. I don't actually know yet until I actually see how these play out in game. Let's see if there's any other information that they provide for us. Okay, they do actually have other abilities in these classes. Let's take a look at each class one by one. I think Medic with Thievery or Espionage would be a good extra soldier to bring on missions. You know, those Thievery and Espionage type soldiers, the ones that give you extra credits or intel after missions, those will be really, really good characters to have, I think. Provided the game's not like so hard that like missing out on a talent ability for combat is like a big deal. But if it's not a big deal to lose out on talent, I think just getting free resources on the strategic layer, that's going to be the type of stuff that pays for itself in the long run. I was going to buy ZCOM, but CD Projekt Red is releasing the new DLC for Witcher 3 plus Remaster. Gotta save up for that. Don't worry, Blade Walker, you get to watch me play Zero Company for you. Okay, so the Assault class has their ultimate, Sweeping Salvo. This is a thing that costs advantage. I still don't really have an idea of what it means if something costs 7 advantage, because we don't really have a good gauge of how hard it is to build up advantage. But from the way that they described it, each time you hit a target, you get +1 advantage. So assuming you're attacking 4 times in a turn with your 4 soldiers, you should be able to build up 4 advantage in 1 turn. I don't know how much you start with. I don't know how much like an astromech can regenerate for the team. But this is the one that does an AoE and disorients everything in a cone. Oh, there's a limit per combat also. So even if you have like 28 points of advantage, you can't actually spend 28 points of advantage on Sweeping Salvo. So I guess that's how they balance it between like how some ultimates might be too strong. So in order to prevent players from only using one specific ultimate, they put a cap on it also. Effective range of 12 meters, attack cannot crit until it's top rank, and benefits from all bonuses to blaster damage. Okay. Bull Rush. Charge into an enemy, dealing melee damage and pushing it backwards. I was gonna say, this sounds a lot like Bull Rush from XCOM. I was like, man, it would be really funny if they also made a melee attack that stuns in this game. Fleet of Foot. Increases this operator's first movement by 1 meter. Okay, so a 1 meter increase to your move speed. Strike the flanks. This operator gains a +20% critical chance bonus against exposed enemies. So this kind of acts a lot like the Assault, except unlike the Assault class in XCOM 1, there really isn't a shotgun for this class, so it's not specifically meant for point-blank combat, although it can be used in that sense, I guess. A lot of times when you get flanked on your enemies, it's because you ran up to them and you're at point-blank, so this will play very similarly to the Assault classes that we've seen so far, even if it won't play exactly like it, just due to the way movement works in these types of games. Confirmed interaction. Expose is applied by flanking and by the heavy's bulwark, which taunts enemies in a large area into attacking the heavy. Interesting. So if you're taunted, it counts as you're being exposed? Or does it mean like you just end up walking out of cover to shoot at the target? I don't actually know how that works. Disoriented is applied only by Sweeping Salvo among confirmed abilities. Here, we'll look at the statuses table later. And then they've got some upgrade abilities, but we don't know anything about the numbers until we've actually played the game. Gunslinger. Gunslinger specializes in multi-target blaster attacks, okay? Open fire. Fire 2 times at any combination of enemies, 6 base damage per shot as a chained ranged attack, with each rank adding a chance to hit bonus to both shots and lowering the advantage cost to 7 by rank 2. Okay, so starting off as this is actually more expensive than the AoE shot ability that the Assault class has. Quick draw, 1 action point. I believe in this game you get 3 action points, unlike XCOM where you only get 2. So there's less soldiers to be used in this game than in XCOM, but each individual soldier seems like it'll be a little bit stronger. Fire a lightning fast sidearm pistol shot. 6 base damage at a minus 25% ranged chance to hit penalty. Defeating an enemy restores 1 AP, and the shot triggers neither Overwatch nor Retaliation, but takes no benefit from weapon mods. Okay, so you can't get weapon mods, but you can theoretically infinitely kill enemies as long as you're securing kills with the shots. And you also have to have the AP for it. So you can theoretically clear out an entire map of enemies. And I believe defeating the enemies restores 1 AP. Oh no, this isn't advantage. Okay, so it doesn't even use advantage. It literally just costs 1 AP. Interesting. Okay, so this is like kind of the carry type unit. This is like the type of unit that you would use to like make sure that you win a fight. I'd imagine a really strong combo would be to have the soldier shoot a rocket at a group of enemies, expose them all, and then have this guy whip out his quick draw and just instantly down the entire map. Okay, so that's going to be a combo to look forward to. Keen Eye, passive, always active. Increase operator's critical hit chance by 6%. I'm assuming that number goes up when you level it up, otherwise 6% kind of seems piss weak. Each attack within a single turn grants this operator +1 blaster damage. This bonus applies only to attacks with this operator's primary blaster. If this applies to quick draw, you're basically chain killing enemies and getting more damage per round. Isn't that absolutely insane? Wonder if that's a cooldown. It doesn't say that there's a cooldown here. Doesn't this sound insane though? Like, this guy literally just wipes the map by himself. I'd assume that maybe like the blaster shots do a lot less damage. It does say 6 base damage, and the other one said 12. So this is doing like half the damage of maybe the rifle's base damage, I guess. So maybe that's why it's so powerful, because it has such low base damage. But even then, like the ability to just clean up an entire map sounds absolutely insane. Maybe the game's balanced around that. Who knows? Increasing range damage for 2 turns. Okay. Weapon class is chosen independently of specialization. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, interesting. So the Gunslinger, I can see this as a really powerful carry type class. The kind of class where you set up for them to clean up the entire map and output insane amounts of damage. Like, no matter how many enemies you come up against, just having one Gunslinger just being able to down everything instantly is just going to be absolutely insane. If ever a Long War mod was made for this game, I think they'd like put an advantage cost to this ability also, or something like that. Some way of limiting it. Quick Draw is sidearm, damage bonus is primary. I'm pretty sure the pistol is also a primary weapon in this game. I don't think that count. Is there even a sidearm in this game? I don't actually know how it works. Heavy is a frontline combatant, so these guys are the tanks. Bulwark, we read this one. This only costs 4 advantage, which is kind of really good, actually. Assuming we face Long War levels of difficulty where like there's too many enemies and you can't kill them all, this is a really powerful ability to have this one guy able to just hunker down and then just distract a whole horde of enemies. And the range seems pretty damn good too. Unstoppable. Gain 2 stacks of retaliation. Each stack permits a counter against the next incoming attack. Cast on this operator once per turn until its top rank extends it to allies. Okay, so it seems like every once in a while you get to give yourself this little buff where you counterattack after getting shot at. I'm curious whether or not the attack has to hit you or if it allows you to retaliate while dodging the attack. Increases operator's max health by 4, defense by +2. Operator's primary blaster attacks taunt the target on a hit. The third heavy passive, which is why this class fills 5 ability slots rather than 4. Interesting. Okay, so he gets to just taunt everything, no matter what. You get to taunt them by shooting them, you get to taunt them by activating an ability. That does mean that this will be redundant with that other talent that allows you to taunt enemies. You definitely don't need that on your heavy then. If anything, I think the talent you would want on the heavy would be something like grants additional defense, stuff like this. grants additional health and defense, or anticipates and evades enemy attack. I think one of these things will be really good on the heavy class. Okay, interesting. So this is going to be like the big guy of the team. I'm assuming he'll be carrying around like a repeater, like the machine gun type thing, and then he'll just be screaming at the top of his lungs in the middle of combat, getting all the enemies to focus on him. Also, how's it going, Danker, dude? Didn't see you there. Currently looking at some Zero Company stuff. When an event inevitably shows up tomorrow when we stream it. Let's see. Morale boost, ultimate, 7 advantage. This operator and all nearby allies increase to 4 stacks of morale. Once per combat, each turn, morale restores plus 2 HP per stack, and then loses a stack. Oh, okay. So let's say you have 4 stacks of morale. The first turn, you're gonna heal 8 HP. Then the next turn, you're going to heal 6 HP. Then the next turn after that, you'll heal 4 HP. The turn after that, you heal 2 HP, and then you're done. So this is a massive amount of passive healing, as long as your people don't go down immediately. That's pretty damn big, actually. And an operator holding morale ignores chance to hit penalties from injury. Interesting. Okay, so this is something I didn't realize. There's a chance to hit penalty from injuries, which means whenever you get damaged, there's basically red fog going on. If you're hurt, then you have a harder time fighting, so it's really, really important to actually have a medic on your team. Grant Simulant to an ally for 2 turns, increasing max health, melee damage, range damage, plus 8 max health, plus 2 melee and range damage, rising to plus 12 and plus 3 for the rest of the combat at its top rank. Med packs used by this operator restore an additional plus 5 health. Operator is permanently equipped with a med pack that does not use a utility slot. When this operator rescues an ally with rally, that ally is fully healed. Okay, so this is actually... I thought there would be like more offensive support, but this seems like mostly healing with a little bit of offensive support. But to be fair though, plus 2 damage is actually a pretty big deal if you get an ability that allows you to shoot multiple times. So you know how in XCOM I've explained before, plus 2 damage is plus 2 damage, but if your character shoots twice, then it's actually plus 4 damage. If your character shoots 3 times, it's actually plus 6 damage. So this is actually a pretty big deal, depending on how often you can find multi-shot abilities on side characters. I see we're theory crafting. I'll be lurking in the background. Have fun, Danker. Combat stims being for the rest of combat is insane. Is it for the rest of combat? Wait, hold up. No, for 2 turns, for 2 turns. Oh, at top rank, it's rest of combat. Shit, you're right. It seems like this is a specific buff, so it'll give them a tag called Simulant, and then you can't stack it more. I'm assuming you can't stack this. If you could stack this, that'd actually be absolutely insane. Yeah, it doesn't look like you can stack it. It seems like something where it gives you your character a flag, and then once you have the flag, you can't put more of it on top. But until we actually see it in game, we can't know for certain. But that's really good, though, for the rest of combat. To be fair, it is a max rank thing, so I'm assuming all the max rank stuff will be really, really strong. Okay, Scoundrel. Mark the chosen enemy, allowing this operator to assist the next ally attack that attacks that target. A single enemy special action once per turn, applying marked 1. Marks do not expire at the end of the turn, and when the assisted ally crits, the assist shot crits too. The advantage cost falls with rank to 5 by rank 3. Okay, so you mark a guy and your teammate shoots it and you shoot them afterwards. If your teammate crits them, then you crit them also. So this is really good on units that have a lot of crit chance tied to them. We know that the Assault naturally gets some crit chance on flank targets, so that's already one way to handle it. Makes a chosen enemy vulnerable, allowing the next attack to critically... Okay, well there we go. There's the combo right there. Next attack to critically hit. Applies vulnerable 1. This is like a debuffer type unit, from the way the abilities are beating out so far. Not really like a jack of all trades type thing that we thought it was. At an effective range of 12 meters, extending by 4 per rank to that much, applying vulnerable 2 at its top rank. Okay, so I'm assuming like the range bonus is meant for working with the sharpshooter class, I think. This also costs 1 AP. I don't know how much AP it costs to shoot a sniper rifle, but if it's enough, you could do something like mark them with a crit and then crit them, then or like have an ally crit them and then you follow up with a shot and also get a crit. That's actually going to be pretty amazing. Increases this operator's assist damage by +1. So assist damage, I believe, is like the follow-up attacks. All of this operator's attacks penetrate the target's defenses, ignoring up to 4 points of defense. Ooh. So this is like a anti-tank unit type thing. So assuming the enemies also get specializations like our characters, this would be like the solution to dealing with a really high defense heavy on the enemy team. I don't know if combat equals missions though. I'm assuming combat equals missions. Unless there's like multiple combat per mission, maybe. Alright, Scoundrel sounds interesting. It's like a debuffer type unit, but it's also capable of acting as its own buffer. So it can also be like its own single target shooter type unit. Scout, trained in ambush. So this is the ambush class. Cost all advantage. Oh boy, what is this? Execute a well-timed surprise attack on an enemy. The more advantage used in this attack, the greater the damage. 14 base damage plus 2 per advantage spent, requiring at least 4 advantage to fire. Once per turn, at its top rank, each advantage adds 5 damage, so a full pool of 10 adds 50 damage. I don't know how much HP most enemies will have, but I remember seeing a little bit of gameplay, and each shot seemed to be doing about like a third of an enemy's life with a rifle. So assuming like 12, 14 damage is like base damage of a rifle, I'm assuming most enemies will have like 40 HP. So adding 50 HP damage means you can probably kill most of the tougher enemies in one shot with this. Interesting. Combat Recon. Assess threats in a large area, granting advantage for each enemy in the assessment area. A target area fast action, granting +1 advantage per enemy assessed and revealing hidden enemies. Once per turn with a 4-meter area effect inside a 14-meter assessment range. Okay, so you mark an area and you get a whole pool of AP. So the scout's job is to get a lot of, or not AP, is it AP or advantage? It's advantage. So the scout's job is to give your entire team a bunch of these advantage points. And then you can either use it yourself to just blow up one guy, or you can give your entire team a bunch of ultimates to activate at once. That's kind of cool. Provides a 20% chance to gain +1 advantage when this operator defeats an enemy. When this operator damages an enemy with their blaster, that enemy is spotted. I don't know what spotted means, but we'll probably look at that later once we see all the little abilities here. Okay, quite interesting, quite interesting. This class actually sounds really cool. I feel like this would be one of those really satisfying classes. You know how like in XCOM War of the Chosen, when you use the Reaper to scout a bunch of enemies while you're in shadow, and then when you wait for them to all stand next to the explosive barrel and you remote start it, and you just like obliterate 2 pods at once? I can imagine something of that nature. I don't know, does this work on an AoE, or is this like a single target thing? I don't know if this is probably single target, right? I'm assuming it's single target. But basically it's one of those things where it's like a satisfying thing where you scout out a group of enemies, you get a whole bunch of points, and you just like unload all the points type thing. This will probably be a very interesting skill-oriented type class to use, depending on how difficult it is to set up this type of stuff. Precision shot. Okay, so the sharpshooter is the marksman-based class. Fires a calculated blaster shot that always hits. 14 base damage once per turn, with each rank adding 10% critical damage. Set up a position for accurate shooting and gain 3 stacks of lethal increasing chance to hit by 15% and critical chance by 9%. Each stack is worth 5% and critical chance of 3%. And all stacks are lost on moving or being knocked over. Ranks add a stack apiece to 8 at its top rank. Do you lose any stacks for shooting or something? Or why does it have it in stack form? I'm trying to understand that. Ranks add a stack apiece to 8 at its top rank. So 8 times 5, so you get 40% bonus hit chance. That's just absolutely insane. You're pretty much getting guaranteed hits with this at top rank. And 8 times 3 would be 24% crit chance. Okay. Increases Overwatch chance to hit by 5% and Overwatch damage by 2. Interesting. This is actually more of an Overwatch unit rather than a direct shot unit, it seems. This operator has a plus 10% chance to hit bonus on all blaster attacks. Oh, okay, so you just naturally get plus 10. At max rank, you get plus 40, and then you just get like a few more points for Overwatch. Alright, so this is basically just the accuracy class. No matter how hidden in cover a tank might be, you'll be able to hit them no matter what. And you'll also have decent crit chance, it seems. Very straightforward. Nothing much to say there about what we expected from the sharpshooter class. Trick is the confirmed soldier among story characters. The soldier is a mainstay offensive unit capable of engaging enemies at close to medium range with melee grenades, heavy blaster fire, and a powerful rocket. So their ultimate, Rocket Strike, fire a powerful rocket that explodes on impact. This costs 10 advantage. That is one of the more high costing ones. In fact, I think the game says that you can have 10 advantage pooled at most, so this literally eats all of your advantage if you're going to use it. 28 base damage though, that's the highest amount of damage that we've seen so far outside of the Scout. Raising to 34 damage and applying vulnerable at its top rank. Rush and strike a target, dealing melee damage and dazing. 12 base damage once per turn, rising to 18 damage, and a stun at its top rank. An in-combat card at rank 4 was listed at 16 damage. Increases melee damage. There's a surprisingly high amount of focus on melee damage for this character. Increases blaster damage and grenade damage by plus 2. Okay, so they can basically do a little bit of everything. This is actually more of a jack-of-all-trades class than the Scoundrel than I thought it would be. I thought this would be more focused on like just shooting and grenades, but it's kind of like a little bit of everything. You got melee, grenade, shooting, all forms of damage tied into this one soldier, so they can pretty much do everything that you want them to do, and I'd actually argue that they feel more like a jack-of-all-trades class than the Scoundrel, actually. Or not jack of all trades, they have jack of all damage types, I guess. You have AoE damage, you have single target damage, you have melee damage, as opposed to the other classes which have like utility tied to them. Like the Scoundrel can debuff, the Scout has AP generation, things of that nature. Okay, so that is all the classes right now. Ronar, can your PC handle ZCOM? We have a new PC, so we definitely can. If you haven't noticed, since a few months ago, my PC has been able to load XCOM stuff very quickly. Always hits. Yeah, we got a couple of abilities that have always hits tags to them, so that'll be interesting to see. Let's look at the statuses real quick. So you got things like vulnerable, next attack against a target can critically hit. Okay, so this isn't a damage amp as I thought. I mean, force critical hits are basically a damage amp, but not like a damage amp that's on top of a crit. Marked, assist the next ally that attacks the marked target. Dazed, applied on top of melee damage, becomes stunned at the ability's top rank. I still don't know what it means to be dazed though. It just says applied on top of melee damage. Yeah, it's not actually telling us what disoriented and dazed does. Morale, we know what that does. This is a counter ability. There is going to be a burn effect. Applied to enemies pushed out of position by the jetpack landing. Interesting. So the jetpack applies burn. Raising lightsaber deflection. Stacks increase chance to hit. This is going to be from that guy who's I I didn't really know what Umbaran was, but apparently that was from one of the theories out there or something. It's a group of people that have combat gas suits or something. Like they can give themselves simulants to be really good at doing stuff. I believe this guy is meant to be your in-game sharpshooter unit. Vicious, cold-blooded, universal talent. Lets operators score critical hits easily. I don't exactly know what it means by critical hits easily. Invulnerable, ignores damage from an incoming attack. Stacks increase with the talent's upgrades. Expose strips. Okay, interesting. So there's a debuff called Expose, which means your enemies don't get cover bonuses, it seems. And that seems to be what the Heavy's taunt applies. So it's not that they get pulled out of cover or anything, it's just that they get applied with a debuff that counts them as not having cover if you do that. So the Heavy, despite sounding like a tank, is also kind of an offensive support unit by removing all your enemies' cover. This tells us nothing about what spotted means. Lethal. Okay, this is a thing that stacks up hit chance and crit chance. Evasion. Gained 1 stack at a time as a fast action on this operator. Immune to status effects. Cannot be pushed. Okay. Standard combat squad is 4 characters. Does it say that you get more over time, or is it always 4? Players choose which 4 squad members to deploy from their full roster at the den before each mission. Certain missions let players control additional characters beyond the standard 4. Okay, so there are certain missions that let you have more than 4, but I'm assuming those are like specific story missions where it's like, oh, you have to defend the base, or oh, you're making a large-scale attack for this one mission. So you should expect to just be using 4 for most of your missions, I think. A key design feature is that combat is influenced by player exploration. The terrain and layout of a mission area changes based on how the player has explored it prior to or during combat, providing strategic advantages or disadvantages depending on knowledge of the Wait, what? You get to explore the map before you go on the mission? Interesting. Story missions open with a small third-person free roam phase, a main story-only espionage segment where exploring before the fight grants intel and advantage points for the combat encounter ahead. Weather effects during combat are purely cosmetic and do not affect visibility, okay? Cover. Full cover is 50 and half cover is 35. So in XCOM Vanilla, it was 40 for full cover and 20 for half cover. So this is much closer to the Long War cover numbers, which means survivability is boosted on both sides compared to XCOM, or at least the vanilla. I believe in Long War 2 it was like 45 and 30, so it's very, very similar to the Long War numbers. So things will be harder to kill, things will be harder to hit, by a little bit at least, which is why they're giving so many aim bonuses. But if you notice all the aim bonus numbers earlier, you pretty much have like near 100% chance to hit on things once you've really stacked up your aim bonuses. So I think by the end game, your characters are still going to just be like shooting things to death with like near guaranteed accuracy. It's mostly the early game where you're going to really have to like position and stuff properly to get proper kills and stuff. Flanking is probably going to be important too. Yeah, definitely for sure. Positioning is always going to be important for this type of stuff. Cover works the same in both directions, makes targets harder to hit, makes line of sight harder to achieve. For your operators and for enemies alike, flanking a target by moving around its cover leaves it exposed, and attacking from higher ground likewise negates the protection cover provides. Negates? Like, you lose it? The game features destructible environments, so cover can be eliminated during combat, and holding one position too long risks ending up fully exposed. Environmental kills are confirmed. An enemy pushed into a void, turbo lift shafts, water cliffs, dies instantly. So unlike in XCOM, there is knocking people off of cliffs. Remember how like when we're on the network tower, we're like, oh man, imagine how funny it would be if you could like knock someone into the pit? You can do that in this game. Some enemies can be cloaked, and a droid's map scan can reveal a cloaked target. Oh man, they didn't chicken out like in XCOM 2 where they were afraid to give enemies the ability to conceal. Enemies can conceal in this game. That's pretty cool. No fog of war! Oh my gosh, that's so exciting to see. Okay, so there's no fog of war, which means there's no, I don't want to activate enemies, so I'm gonna move like a snail and bunch up my team in this corner type stuff. None of that. It's gonna be like Chimera Squad. You just go in there and just go in guns blazing. Everything's active all at once. Zero Company does not use Fog of War. Unlike XCOM, the player can see all enemy positions at all times before engaging. This is a deliberate design departure. In XCOM, concealment of enemy positions was a primary driver of Overwatch crawl strategy. Without that uncertainty, Overwatch becomes a less dominant tactic. Seeing everything does not mean shooting everything. BitReactor notes that snipers still need line of sight, so a full sharpshooter squad is viable, but may land fewer kills than a balanced one. Objective design also pushes against a pure Overwatch crawl. It suits holding ground in supply runs, but sabotage, rescue, and extraction missions all demand movement. Overwatch and Zero Company is also cone-based rather than... Oh, it's like a Phoenix Point. If you guys remember how I was setting up little cones of Overwatch in Phoenix Point. This is just like that, cone-based. A unit in Overwatch covers a defined adjustable firing arc, and the number of enemies it can fire on scales with the AP invested. The longer the cone, the less accurate the shot, so extending coverage trades hit chance for area. Gotcha. And that's why the sniper is getting so much of those accuracy bonuses, because the sniper's goal is to be able to overwatch a large area, which normally for other classes would cause them to be really inaccurate. But with the sniper, you'll have really good accuracy, even when you're covering a wide spot. I get it now, it's all coming together. Oh, that's cool design, actually. That's actually really cool. Okay, Overwatch automatically attacks enemies that move through the cone or take an action inside it. Placing Overwatch immediately ends that operator's turn, making it an ideal final action, and an enemy caught moving through the cone may have its movement interrupted. Combined with the absence of Fog of War and map structure, that forces players to advance. This pushes squads toward active forward engagement rather than static defensive play. Breaking Overwatch. An Overwatch is cancelled outright when the operator holding it takes damage. This is symmetrical, applying to enemies and to your own squad. So it's like XCOM 2, where getting injured will lose you your Overwatch, unlike in XCOM 1. So shooting a unit that has pinned an approach is a reliable way to clear it before moving through. Enemies use Overwatch to pin down operators in the exact same way. Okay, so that's what the cone looks like. Combat in this game seems to take place in very tight quarters. Just by looking at this picture right now, like the enemies are literally just right on top of you. Interesting. Oh boy, high ground snipers ignore cover. I know, right? High ground being able to ignore cover is kind of wild to me. I don't know like what counts as high ground though. Like, does this count as high ground? Like just up these stairs, or do you have to like be on top of a tower or something? That's probably gonna be something that we have to ask ourselves. Pretty cool. Okay. And of course, there's different objectives: eliminating enemies, rescuing, defending points. Interesting, interesting. Oh, that's exciting stuff. All right, this game's looking like it's going to be a lot better than I thought it would be, honestly. I really like the large pool of character customization choices. I'm always a sucker for this type of stuff, being able to have a bit of player expression, or in this case, I guess, character design expression that you guys will get to have when making your own characters for our campaigns. What else do we want to look at here? There's the different factions. I don't really care too much about the story stuff. I want to not be super spoiled on that type of stuff. Peace management. I don't really care too much about reading this stuff. We'll read through a little bit of it. So you have credits, you have intel, focus points. There is a bond system in this game. I didn't read too much into that one. Completing operations and tactical missions in a region, so there's like some level of zone influence. So there is like a strategic map of some sort, even if it's going to be like bare bones. Eventually, if someone ever wants to create like an overhaul mod for this stuff, they have something to work with. I think one of the magic points about XCOM 1 and 2 is that the base game, despite being somewhat bare bones, was so good. It had such a good core gameplay that all you have to do is add on some mods to elevate the experience even more. And I feel like Zero Company is going to be just like that. It's just a shame that there's no like official mod support, unlike XCOM 2. But that doesn't mean a game isn't moddable. I mean, with all the modding tools at your disposal and stuff like that, I don't think that'll be too difficult to set up. Campaign advances in cycles. Each cycle becomes available after completing a tactical mission. Before ending a cycle, a player can run operations, visit den. So you get to basically have your characters do stuff outside of combat, it seems. Almost like how in XCOM 2's Long War, there's like that little bit of infiltration, although not exactly like that. Follow table. It's more like the covert actions from War of the Chosen. Follow table. Look, guys, it's a geoscape. It's basically XCOM again, guys. Look, we have the geoscape. New custom operators can be hired here. Okay, so there's a place to recruit people. Unique hero. Okay, so there's like story quests for like specific characters, it seems. Interesting. So there's like side quests for your hero characters. I guess I'll go through the hero characters a little bit. Maybe you can like nickname the hero characters, so even if you don't get to customize the characters, you get to at least like put viewer nicknames over them. Weapon modifications. So there are weapon mods. Utilities are equipable items that grant either a passive or active ability. Okay, so we do have like small items that you can equip. You have weapon mods, there's a black market in this game. Upgrade facilities. There's some sort of base building, it seems. We do have like a droid bay to build our astromechs. Med bay. Look guys, it's the infirmary. Gotta rush infirmary so your people are back at work quicker. 20 max roster size, not a lot of room for viewers, sadly. In a sense, it's not enough for our stream, which has like at least like 40 or so people in it at minimum. But I would imagine when you start running multiple campaigns and when people start dying, you'll have more slots to fill in. I'd be more concerned about how often different soldiers will get to see combat, because in a lot of these types of games, it's better to focus on like one good squad that's really high ranking rather than splitting all your EXP amongst a bunch of different people. So I hope there's some way to make sure that other characters don't fall behind in EXP and just end up being kind of dead weight compared to like the main four that you're running all the time. That's the one thing I would like to see, where it's kind of more like Long War, where even the side stuff that you send your soldiers onto will at least help them keep up with the squad in terms of EXP. I think if they can do that much, I'd be pretty happy with the base game already, and then the rest of my wants can be fulfilled by modding community and stuff like that. That's what I would say, at least. New PC is strictly negative because we lost all the YouTube playables. That's one way to describe it. Don't worry, guys. During Zero Company, I'll just purposely play a YouTube playable on the sides. We'll be in the middle of a mission, and I'll have, like, a YouTube playable in the top right corner. And maybe I'll, like, get my girlfriend to play a YouTube playable in the top right corner or something while we play the main game. She'll, like, play Hello Kitty Island Adventure up there or something. Defeated. When an operator loses all their health, they are down. They can no longer take actions and suffer an injury, but an ally can rally them back into the fight. Accumulating 3 injuries results in permanent death on standard difficulty. On standard difficulty. I wonder what it is on the max difficulty. Oh, that's a good question. What is it on max difficulty? Is it like instant death? Injuries accumulate from combat and remain on a character until you pay... Okay, it's not actually in one mission. It's over the course of multiple missions. So if the first mission you get downed, second mission you get downed again, third mission is the death, unless you heal them at the med bay. Combat is not the only source. Injuries can also be picked up on dangerous operations launched from the holo table. Okay, so there's not just combat injuries. You can take injuries from covert actions, essentially, in terms of XCOM terminology. Rallying costs AP. An ally must spend action points to move to the downed operator and rally them. So a revive competes with attacking for that turn's budget. This is a big deal, actually, because of the way this game's designed. You're supposed to attack enemies to gain advantage points. So when you have to bring a person back up, that's a really big deal, actually, because 1, you're only operating with 3 units for that turn. 2, one of the units that you're operating with can't attack and has to spend all their points on reviving the guy. And you gotta hope that the guy that you revive doesn't get downed immediately afterwards. So this is a very swingy offensive type game. Like, you really gotta stay on the attack and just stay on top of things. If someone gets down, you better like quickly bring them back up and immediately start attacking again, it seems. A medic rallying a downed ally returns them fully healed through the class's first responder passive. Any other class brings them back on a fraction of their health. So a non-medic revive leaves the operator exposed to a second down and a second injury in the same mission. So if anything, you might want to make sure that the situation is clear before you bring them up. So if you have a person get down, you might just need to fight with 3 people and take out the remaining stuff nearby. And from the screenshots we've seen, a lot of the combat happens at really close range too. Mid-mission revive risk. Rallying a downed squad mate during a mission is a deliberate risk-reward decision. They may sustain further injuries if they go down again. Injured reserve. Pulling a character off the injured list too early also carries risk before full treatment. Okay, so I can see if people get injured a lot, this is where you start needing a big roster. You're gonna need the 20 people, because like while your 4 main guys are currently in the med bay, you need another group of 4 to run. Otherwise, you risk possibly losing permanently one of your guys. That's actually really cool. I kind of like that. Injuries carry a combat cost as well as a cooldown or a countdown. An injured operator suffers 10 hit chance for each injury they are carrying. So twice injured operator fights at minus 20%. Ooh. 2 abilities answer that penalty directly, the medic's morale and the fortitude talent at its top rank, both of which let an operator ignore it. Interesting. So there's injury debt. While permadeath is permanent, several systems exist to manage risk. Injury treatment, recruitment. I like how recruitment, you replace the guy that died. Squad management, deploying the right 4 characters for each mission. Difficulty settings. Okay, 4 are named. Story, normal, hard, expert, alongside a separate Beskar mode that stacks on top of a difficulty rather than replacing one. Permadeath is enabled by default and can be toggled off in the settings. Even permadeath and the limited ability to save your game are available on certain difficulty settings. Lower difficulties allow players to opt out. Okay, I'm curious what it means when it says that it depends on difficulty. Does that mean like on higher difficulties you only get like 1 injury before someone's permadead or something? That's gonna be very interesting to see. But why would you send an injured soldier in? Probably because you have to. I'm imagining, like, for example, let's say you have a roster of 10 right now, and 5 of them are injured. You need 4 of them to do missions, but you also want to be able to send them out on those little covert actions to get side stuff done. That's the point where you need to start deciding whether or not you're going to skip out on the side stuff, or if you're going to be willing to take some injured soldiers on a mission. I think that's where it's really going to start deciding things. Or perhaps if the difficulty is truly greater, then you might be like, oh man, I really need my good soldier on this mission. Maybe it's like a mission type where you really badly want a sharpshooter. You've seen the map, it's like a long extended corridor type map and you gotta like defend the point from far away. That's the type of thing where it's like, oh man, I guess I have to send my injured sniper in on this one. And then when you do and they get jumped from behind or something like that, and then you possibly lose them. I can imagine something like that possibly playing out, maybe. That's all conjecture, of course. I haven't seen the actual game yet beyond just a few trailers. But man, this is actually looking to be very exciting. I'm excited for this, guys. See if there's anything else interesting to look at here. Focus points are the currency spent in the focus tree. They earned primarily by increasing bonds. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you can get a special action used in combat. Passive as an always-on bonus, an upgrade to the operator's existing talents and abilities. Many abilities have multiple ranks, with later ranks costing more focus points and improving the effect. Ranks are visible in combat. An ability card shows the rank as part of the ability's name, so an operator using Combat Beacon 4 is running the 4th rank of that node, where a rank is shown. Class abilities run to rank 6. Okay. read this real quick. The operator and all nearby allies rise to 6 stacks of morale. At this rank, up from 4 base, each turn morale restores. So this is for the medic, I think. Okay, this is for each class, I think. So this would be like medic. Is it? No, it's not specific to the class, I think. This is the assaults. Okay, for now, let's do one last look at each of the hero classes. So Hawks would be the main player character. You get to customize this person completely. You get like pick your species and stuff, but let's be real now. I think everyone's gonna be just be doing human, their own sex or gender, and then that's that. This is the one guy that you get, the one hero class that you get to choose your class on. Combat ability. In addition to their chosen class abilities, he gets spending advantage to refresh 1 AP for any squad mate once per turn. This makes Hawks a force multiplier in squad resource management. Hawks also carries a unique talent, Fearless Leader. While Hawks is present, assist damage, defense, and chance to hit increase for every operator in the squad, and upgrading the talent improves these bonuses. It is a separate effect from the AP refresh above, and it persists through any specialization change. Outside of tactical missions, players have full third-person action adventure control of Hawks. Deployment and death required on story missions. Okay. So he has an ability that buffs everyone on the team, and he can also convert advantage into AP points for the squad. So if you just really badly need to like move or do stuff, you can spend your ultimate points to get people to do other things. Kind of like the officer class in the Long War series of stuff. Trick. He is a clone trooper. I believe he's from one of the media sources. I think like from the Clone Wars or something. I think maybe. I don't know enough about XCOM media, but I believe he's part of that stuff. Trick formerly designated, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at his combat stuff. Functions in a combat role consistent with a heavy or range support. Carrying a repeater, fire, repeating blaster, final action. Curious if mission restart due to Hawks dying would break Iron Man. I'm assuming that would be specific to Beskar mode, maybe? Because Beskar mode kind of makes it sound like Iron Man in a sense, where it's like permadeath and perma-loss. So I'm assuming Beskar mode is the one where there's going to be permadeath and you can't save scum at all. What class will Jane Kelly end up being? If I were to point Jane Kelly as a class, I think it's got to be like just a standard assault, right? Although, to be fair, in the cutscene of XCOM 2, she was acting more like a scout. She was like setting up explosives and stuff and moving around in the shadows. So, I don't know. Scout seems to be more of like Jane Kelly's canonical class, but like in-game she ends up being the assault. And this basically fits that type of playstyle very heavily, I think. Don't really get to see too much of this guy's information. This is the Jedi person. We get one of this person, so I kind of want to see what this is about. Mostly because one of the main draws to playing a Star Wars story is having your own Jedi. Uses Jedi Padawan exotic class, one of 4 exotic classes in the game. This class is unique to her and cannot be assigned to other squad members. She has force push and force pull. Doesn't say anything else about her. Strong with the Force, stacks of harmony, raising her lightsaber deflection and attack damage, and upgrading the talent increases the stacks gained. Harmony is named only in EA's operator biography and its cap. Decay and interaction with Force abilities are unstated. Okay, we don't get too much information about the Jedi Padawan itself. I'd be really excited to see if this person has like a fun story and then they eventually upgrade to becoming like Jedi Knight as like the 4th secret class. That'd be pretty cool. This one's the Mandalorian that we get. We know that their ability is to use a jetpack to jump to any location on the map. So some sort of class that really loves reposition would probably be the main benefit of using this soldier over here. In Long War, or in Beyond Legendary, what we were playing, we had our own Mandalorian class, and the character was able to jetpack into a spot and then start flamethrowing a bunch of enemies. In a sense, if there's a class that can do something similar to that, I think that's how you would want to spec Cly over here. I don't know if something like a flamethrower is in the game, but there is like a burn effect, so I would be kind of surprised if they didn't include some sort of flamethrower weapon to go with the burn. Luco Bronx. So this is the Umbaran guy that I was talking about earlier. He has the ability to release combat gases in his helmet to make himself a little bit stronger, and he seems to be like the default sharpshooter that you're given. There's not really a lot of information on these guys, so we're just gonna quickly look through them and just have an idea what they're like. Look, guys, it's a Muton! Oh my gosh, it's a Muton! They brought back Mutons, guys! Uppercut. A knockback melee attack that knocks enemies out of cover and can push them into a squad mate's Overwatch zone. EA confirms it as Cab's unique talent and adds that it refunds the action point if it defeats the target. Oh. He can be a carry also. He's like a melee version of the gunslinger. You just run around the map and just start uppercutting everything until everything on the map is dead. It's like using Reaper, except instead of using a sword, you're just punching them in the face really hard. Okay, interesting. I'd imagine this would be the heavy that the game provides you, like the hero heavy. I bet Glup Shito is gonna be OP. Glup Shito. Alright, Jay Morden. I saw this person's ability before. I think their ability was the ability to finish things off. Jay's unique talent is Final Shot. She immediately assists and eliminates any low health targets with upgrades, raising the damage threshold and the number of final shots available per turn. Describes the behavior as similar to Fallout's Mysterious Strangers. The talent persists through any class respec. This person is going to be absolutely busted in my opinion. Just the ability to immediately finish off low health target. That essentially means all enemies, like, let's say for example, she automatically executes enemies at 15% or less HP. This essentially means all enemies have 15% less health on the map, just as long as she exists within the range of them. And if you guys know how games are balanced, a lot of times when a game's difficulty increases, they do things like increase the enemy's HP pool. So in a sense, this character's existence probably just lowers the difficulty of the entire game by 1. Depending on how the numbers are balanced and everything, but I can imagine her just being absolutely busted. This person's gonna be a really strong character. M3VO. Is this your astromech? For Zero Company, M3VO served as an all-purpose medical evacuation droid. Okay, this is an astromech. And it'll probably be more of a medical-focused astromech, I'm guessing. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. It does say that astromechs get grenade and support abilities of that nature, so it might not be purely medical oriented. It's like that meme, I'm a healer, but we have this person over here. Is there any information on what she's good at? What her abilities are? Does not say here. Are these like kind of like more generic hero classes? I'm thinking for my first playthrough, I'll probably play through with all of the hero classes at least once. And then on the subsequent playthroughs, we'll just do all viewer characters and just completely bench these guys. I think that's what we're gonna do. Or maybe on a first playthrough, we should just do all viewer soldiers. I don't know. What do you guys think is the right call here? On one hand, I do want to experience like all the game has to offer at least once. So I want to like play with these guys, but I feel like on a first playthrough, being able to just let all the viewers in on the action would be just much more engaging for you guys. How do you guys feel? Doesn't seem like he has anything special about him either. Okay. So the rest of these guys, I can't really tell what classes they're meant to really be fulfilling. I don't know if these are even our guys or if they're like enemy guys. So let's try to avoid too many spoilers there. But for the most part, this is looking to be pretty exciting. I think if I were to make some builds here, let's think about some builds that might be fun. Naturally, Scoundrel Sharpshooter sounds like something that's meant to be a match made in heaven. You have automatic crits, and then you get the crit with like a high-powered sniper rifle type weapon. What else would there be? Soldier, I think, will be really fun with the rocket strike and stuff. I think the rocket strike on the soldier will be really, really cool to see. What else would there be? I'm not as excited about some classes like the assault because I kind of like have an idea of how they'll play out. I'll still be using them, of course, because I know like they'll be relevant. But like I want to see things like, oh boy, I want to see like the scout slamming someone for like 50+ damage in one shot or one explosive or whatever they use to set up their thing. There's certain combos I want to see, or like I want to see like the scoundrel following up on a bunch of shots. I want to see like that Jay Morden character just like one-shotting everything after you've like weakened the entire map. I want to see like a gunslinger just clearing out an entire group of enemies after they've been slammed by like a rocket from the soldier or something like that. That's like the kind of stuff I want to see. This is the one thing that I think is going to completely break the game. Gunslinger and Quick Draw is probably going to just be way too damn powerful. Medic Scoundrel, that would be fun. Ooh, okay, so Donald, you want to be a medic, so you can heal and you can debuff enemies. That's actually a pretty cool specialization, actually. Like a purely support kind of guy. You can debuff enemies and you can make your teammates better. I think a lot of viewers might build damage-oriented classes, so having a character like yours helping boost them up is definitely going to be a pretty big deal, I think. What other things might be fun? There's no like squad sight in this game, so I'm curious how much how effective it's gonna be to have like long range shooters, because the game looks pretty claustrophobic, so I don't know how easy it will be to set up a sniper that can like safely shoot things from a distance. I don't know if there like is there like an accuracy fall off for like long range? Is there an effective range for weapons? I kind of wish I knew a little bit more about that type of stuff, like the mechanics of the game. But that's all stuff that we're going to have to wait and see tomorrow. Also, for those of you guys who are waiting for Zero Company to release with me, tomorrow we'll definitely be streaming at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's my time. So Eastern Time is when the game releases for us. And I'll probably, like, about anywhere between an hour or 30 minutes before the... probably around 30 minutes before the game releases, we'll be in stream talking about the stuff together and everything. So hopefully you guys are excited for this game like I am. I'm actually very excited myself. And I've got to set up some stuff. I'm actually getting ready to make a whole bunch of video content for this stuff. I'm gonna go like full YouTuber and streamer mode when this finally comes out. So I'm hoping you guys are looking forward to that information also. And I'm just mostly excited because it's been like 10 years since XCOM 2 was released, and we've all been waiting for an XCOM 3 by like the XCOM devs, but it never materialized under Firaxis. But now that they've left and made their own independent group, we're gonna see if BitReactor can make something that fulfills the XCOM 3 itch for us. And it's coming in a franchise that's that I really enjoy, at least. I don't know how other people feel, but Star Wars is a pretty popular franchise, at least before it was butchered by Disney and stuff. But it's an XCOM 3 style type game that's happening in a universe that I really enjoy, so I'm just excited for this overall. Wait, this is made by the former Firaxis folks? Yes, that's right. So if you've not been following the XCOM news, the reason why XCOM 3 hasn't been made was because it seems like there was some stuff that was happening behind the scenes. They made like the Marvel Midnight Suns, that kind of flopped, Chimera Squad's flopped, and they just never seemed to really give the go-ahead for XCOM 3 to happen. And eventually, the people who made XCOM 1 and XCOM 2, they dropped out and formed BitReactor, and they are publishing this game with EA, which I know a lot of people are not very happy with that one, but they seem to have a pretty good hang of things. They seem to understand what they're doing, and as we see from the finished product, seems pretty good. All the reviews I'm seeing online are absolutely amazing, and I think this is like the number 3 most bought item on Steam currently or something like that. So there's that too. And yes, this was made by the original XCOM people, so you got like Jake Solomon in there, I think, stuff like that. And I think they've taken a lot of the lessons that they've learned from XCOM and they're moving it over here. For example, they saw in Long War, there were a lot of different classes, so they implemented more classes for this game here and allowed like multi-classing and stuff. They realized people like the ability to customize their soldiers a lot. They're putting a lot more power per soldier. They're carrying over the permadeath thing, that feature of XCOM, and they're writing it into the stories themselves. Even the main characters can permadie. There's a lot of things I think they wanted to do in XCOM 1 and 2 that they're really finally getting to materialize over here and kind of make the game with the vision that they wanted to make, I think. Yeah, EA does have the rights for the Star Wars game, so there is no way around them. That's true. That is very true. Big reliable PP is right there waiting for you to play with it. There is Phoenix Point. We do have to go back and play the modded Phoenix Point thing, the Terror from the Void mod. One day we'll go back and play that. That was more of like just a sideshow kind of thing. But for sure though, at some point I will be going back to play that Nagara Tap. One day. In this lifetime maybe. But yeah, this game is looking to shape up to be a really, really good game, honestly. I'm excited for this, and I hope you guys are too. Tomorrow we'll be here at around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That is when I'm going to start the stream, and maybe we'll sit in there, talk for a bit together while we just wait for the game to finally release, and when it finally releases, we will be playing, and we will finally get to see all this stuff for real. We'll get to see XCOM 3 at home. It's like, Mom, can we have XCOM 3? And it's like, oh yeah, we already have XCOM 3 at home, and she shows Zero Company, but I think Zero Company is going to be better than what we would have expected from an XCOM 3, because looking at the way things were shaping up in Firaxis Games, it feels like they were really strapped for time to make certain decisions in XCOM 2. Like, remember how when XCOM 2 was released, there was like all this performance issues and everything, the code is all spaghetti and stuff, and even now it still is. But they only barely passed the game with War of the Chosen after a few years and stuff. I feel like, or I'm hoping, Star Wars Zero Company will have less of these types of issues, like less of these performance issues, and is able to just like perform well and just be a solid game by itself out the box without needing mods to kind of lift it up. And then after we've played the heck out of the game, we can start modding the game ourselves and then maybe try to create our own little version of an overhaul mod like Long War was, by implementing all the things that we've learned from how Rishi and the Long War team have made things like Beyond Legendary, Ted Jam, Long War, and stuff like that. Get your Ronar Bucks ready for the next big Gumba. Do you expect it to be more casual or hardcore than XCOM? I think it'll be a little bit more casual on the base difficulties for sure. Looking at some of the stuff, things like the Gunslinger being able to clear entire groups of enemies seems to be pretty damn strong. But I can also imagine the higher difficulties to be harder, and it also depends on what the enemy forces will look like. There's no Overwatch crawl, there's none of this like fog of war stuff. That's one of the things they learned about XCOM 1 and 2, where it's like that was just not the best gameplay, like the pulling enemies one at a time and playing in the corner of the map hoping that you don't activate multiple stuff. They really learned from that. They learned that people didn't like timers as a solution to the Overwatch crawl, so they just eliminated Fog of War, and they will have just like a flat-out open brawl, kind of like Chimera Squad in a sense. And I feel like they've learned a lot of lessons from making XCOM 1 and 2 that they're going to carry over in here. Once again, Gunslinger Quick Draw does not benefit from Onslaught. Let me see, Gunslinger. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, even so though, just clearing out entire things by itself, this perk itself is really good. Anytime you have an ability like this in any turn-based strategy game is automatically like just insane because it turns that soldier into a force multiplier. Assuming you get to land the killing blow on like up to 3 targets, that's like 18 free damage just from this one ability by itself, if you want to think of it that way. But because of that, though, I do expect this game to be a little bit easier than XCOM. Maybe on the lower difficulties. If we're lucky on the higher difficulties, they actually make it a very interesting challenge. But I suspect we'll have to mod the game ourselves to truly get it to the level that we're waiting for. I mean, if you guys look at the games I played, right, like the Beyond Legendary mod for XCOM 2, that's just like ROM hack difficulties level of gameplay. So for someone like me, I don't think anything in a vanilla game will ever truly push me in a way that Beyond Legendary and Beyond Impossible will push me. However, I do believe that this is the type of game where the underlying core gameplay will be really good. Like the reason why Long War 2, Ted Jam, Beyond Legendary, the reason why those mods were able to be made over the game is because the core gameplay is really good. So as long as the core gameplay is good, you can always add on more to it. And in the age of Claude vibe coding mods for me, I don't think I'll have any issues setting up my own mods and desires in this game. And a lot of these assets for some of the stuff here, I believe was taken from other games. For example, the Umbarans was like a canceled race or something in Star Wars Battlefront. So I'm assuming it won't be too hard to port over models from other XCOM games to this game if you wanted to like introduce new enemies and stuff like that. So like for example, like I don't know, like if you wanted to import like the Emperor's Red Guards or something like that, you could probably find their models in a different Star Wars game and just port it over fairly easily. Or not easily, but like you should be able to do it. So I'd imagine that the modding community, even though modding isn't supported specifically, I think it'll still happen. I think there will still be modding in this game. I've skipped 2 hours of theory crafting and Ronar still hasn't played a single mission. Oh man. I know, right? I haven't played any XCOM at all today. And I might end the stream before we even play XCOM because there are some things I want to work on. I've been getting ready to do content for this game. Look at this stuff that I've been making. So I made this thing like, let's see. I have like this make thumbnail sort of device so I can make my own thumbnails for Zero Company videos. I get to like change the background and stuff and then move this stuff around. I get to type my own stuff here. So I have like this cool little feature that I have set up for myself using Claude, so I can just quickly pump out YouTube videos and stuff, because I really want to make a lot of content for this. I've been waiting for an XCOM 3 for so long, and this is XCOM 3 for me at this point. This is my XCOM 3, and hopefully it'll be for you guys too. Makes sense. I guess the new XCOM formula is more approachable than micromanaging your base and shit. I mean, it's not like there isn't micromanaging base. There is going to be a strategic layer. There's going to be like this extra thing, kind of like how there was covert actions in XCOM War of the Chosen. There's going to be like side things that you have to send your other soldiers on. So unlike XCOM 1, where you kind of just like have a roster of like 20 soldiers, but you only use 6 of them, in this game, I don't think it'll just be having a roster of 20 and only using 4 of them. I think all of the soldiers will end up getting used, and depending on how often people get wounded, I think you'll end up having to cycle through soldiers to deal with the injuries and the wounds and stuff like that in the same way, I think. So I'm not too concerned about the strategic layer being too underwhelming. Even if it isn't like up to standards, I think they'll at least leave the core base, the base underlying of the strategic layer will be good enough that modders can build on top of it if they want to add more complexity and depth to it. How many years do you think until Long War Star Wars? Long War Star Wars. Well, obviously the Long War team isn't going to be making something for Star Wars most likely, but I don't know, like, will someone else make it? Will we make it ourselves? I think what I'll end up doing is after like the first few months of playing this, I'm gonna just like pop open Claude and have it like start working simple, right? I'll be like, okay, Claude, make me like these new enemies, just make the game a little bit tougher, and then I'll just like slowly add layer onto layer on top of it, until it resembles some sort of overhaul game that has the depth and complexity that I want for myself. And then whether or not other people take to it well will be a different story, of course, but for myself, I think I can be satisfied with this game. Star Long War. What would we name an overhaul mod? What would you guys think would be a good name for an overhaul mod? Long Star Wars. Strong War. That one actually kind of rolls off the tongue well. Star Wars, Strong Wars, Long Wars. The mod should be named Spaceballs Zero Company. "24-hour theory crafting stream to prep for release." You know, if I actually had like an early copy of the game, that would have probably been the content that I made. If I had an early copy of the game, I would have just like sat in a menu looking at every single character's class and everything instead of playing a mission. Although they probably would have required me to show a mission instead of the base stuff though. Long Wars? What's that even have to do with Star Wars? Oh boy, oh boy. Hopefully you guys are excited for this game though. I'm imagining a couple of viewers are already thinking about what classes they want, what side class they want, what like talent they want their soldiers to have. There's always a possibility that game lacks soul and modders will turn their backs on it like what happened to Starfield. I can imagine that. The reviews are already out for this game. Obviously it's like the game journalists and stuff that'll have the reviews, but so far it's rated pretty highly, so I don't know if that's an indicator of a bad or a good thing if a game journalist rates it highly, but I think I've seen a couple of 9s around the board, 9 out of 10s. So I'm feeling pretty good about this game. Like, from everything that I've felt about this game and the vibes, you guys know me, I'm a vibe gamer. I sense things. I don't like have empirical numbers on things, but I make things work. From my vibes on this game, this feels like the kind of game that is going to meet expectations for me. I mean, I don't trust game journalists these days, it's true, right? But we'll see. It's literally coming out in less than 24 hours. Crimson Desert was a great example of that. Need mods so my anime girl army can fight alongside Obi-Wan? Dude, I can imagine there's gonna be so many anime mods for this, because I feel like half the modding community is just anime people. I would imagine a voice pack mod. The Danker Dude mod. What was it called? Dracula Flow. If we could have a Dracula Flow character in this game, I would just have like this one soldier named Danker Dude just spewing nonsense. I hope dumb aliens are real so I have more things to fuck. Game journalists are overworked and just put games on easy and play for 3 hours before writing their review. Yeah, it's kind of like a tortured existence. Imagine you have the thing that you love doing since you were a kid and now you hate it because you have to like do way too much of it in a time frame that no human should be doing it in. I think it'll be good. I think so too. From everything I've seen about it, I've seen a bit of the gameplay through like Durava and stuff. I saw like one mission and there was a Droideka that popped up and I was like, damn, that is so cool. Droidekas are like one of my favorite battle droid type enemies. I remember like seeing the first movie and seeing like the Droideka just like outmaneuver the Jedi and force them to retreat, and I didn't think too highly of it then, or I didn't appreciate it then, but my friend was like, oh man, Droidekas were so fucking badass, I thought they were so cool. I'm like, yeah, you know what? They are cool as fuck. And then I started liking them a lot more. And then when Battlefront 2 for the PS2 came out, when I was like in middle school or something, I started playing that, and then I played the Droideka unit. I was like, wait, this is cool as fuck. I get to just set up a shield and be unstoppable on this command point, and nothing can stop me from just holding this position. Still about 3% done on the Rotorman voice pack. You know, Bladewalker, if you have a voice pack that works with Zero Company, I'll run that over the Hawks voice pack. I'll do it. I'm actually just curious, where are you getting most of your voice packs from? Is it like mostly from lines in the Beyond Legendary stuff? Were you able to like salvage stuff from like the Beyond Impossible days? I know I have like some videos on my YouTube channel from the Beyond Impossible days, but it's all like just lost in history right now for me. I hope they hit the same magic formula for base gameplay like they did with the XCOM games. If that happens, we're home free because mods will fix anything else. Oh, they'll definitely hit that, I think. I mean, they're ex-XCOM devs who have been waiting to make XCOM 3 forever, and they've just been blue-balled by it from Firaxis until they were just forced to go out and be their own indie companies. So I think they'll definitely hit the mark. They have the passion for it. That they're not just gonna half-ass something. Like, I'd be more concerned if it was like, oh yeah, EA developed this game by themselves, but EA is just publishing it. BitReactor is the former XCOM devs. They'll definitely get it right, in my opinion. Minimum specs require GTX 1080. Do you think 1070 can't run it FPS on low? That's a good question. From my experiences of using a computer that was way too weak for modern standards, games tended to run just fine, but there might be a lot of lag. I think the breaking point for me was when I finally started playing XCOM 2 with all those super mods, and every mission took 10 minutes to load. And then when I was playing Baldur's Gate, there would just be like stutters all over the place and the game would be nearly unplayable. But honestly, I think the XCOM 2 mods are a marvel of software engineering, where instead of having the games itself lagging a bunch, they somehow made it so that it's just the loading screen took 10 minutes, but then afterwards the game played just fine. Danker gave me his own abandoned project. I just needed to run with some free AI that comes with Audacity. Honestly, I bet you could probably make it work with like Claude or something. If you just like, if you opened up Zero Company, found where some of the voice lines are, you feed that into Claude Code and then tell it to like make a voice pack using these audio files, it could probably do a pretty decent job. I know one guy said that his Elden Ring save file got corrupted, so he took a save file that wasn't corrupted and had Claude Code fix it by matching it against the working save file, and it actually managed to fix the corruption. So, if anything, I could see that actually working. Maybe. Can we turn Mr. Computer into Ronar, man? Mr. Computer is going to be on hiatus for a while, especially because I'm going to be more focused on Zero Company stuff. I only have so much Claude usage to fix things. But once I'm done with like the main stuff, but expect me to be like really pumping out Zero Company content. I'm probably going to be doing things like a class guide video every single day the following week or something like that. I'll probably put out guides on like, maybe I'll do like a tier list video. What kind of videos would you guys like to see me make? I don't know, like, I was thinking of the generic stuff like, oh, a guide on the Gunslinger class, a guide on the Assault class, and then a tier list video on like what I think the good classes are or good builds are, stuff like that. I was thinking of doing videos like strategies from an XCOM veteran who's got over 10,000 hours in XCOM gameplay. This is what I think you should do in Zero Company after I've played through of it or something like that. Being carefully optimistic here? Hey, that's a fair thing to do. I think it's good to be careful in optimism. I'm just throwing all my cards to the wind because at this point you've got nothing to lose, right? It's either you have your XCOM 3 replacement or you got nothing, but you're already expecting nothing anyways. That's me, personally. I'm okay with just being overly excited and then getting disappointed in the end. Tips and tricks, 10 things I wish I knew as a new player. Here's 10 mistakes not to make when playing Zero Company, and then just lists like some of the most useless pieces of information. I'm gonna become a clickbait YouTuber, guys. You know, even though I'm not really too interested in that type of content, I've always wanted to try making a video like that just to have fun with it. Here's 10 things I wish I knew not to do before playing Zero Company. Make sure not to take Adderall before you start playing. Tip number 10, don't stand in the open. Tip number 2, make sure that your PC can run the game. It's like, what does that have to do with the gameplay, though? Don't forget littering the info space with shorts. I was actually thinking about starting up YouTube shorts, like just taking a clip a quick short of each of the videos that I make and then just like throwing it out there. ZCOM exposed for copying XCOM. Oh man, there's definitely gonna be videos like that out there somewhere. I can imagine that. There'll be definitely like some video of a guy ranting about how this is just an inferior version of XCOM or something. I think the Gamba hits better with Adderall. Tip number 5, get 8 hours of sleep every night and never skip breakfast. The kind of useless information that you don't need. To be fair though, of the few videos of that nature that I've watched, they've actually given like competent information. It's more like I've evolved to the point where basic information like make sure to always be in cover with your soldiers, and remember, half cover is basically no cover. That type of information just doesn't apply to me anymore. So to someone like me watching that type of video, it does feel like half the information is useless, but you know, that type of info can be useful to the average player just starting out, right? Cooking extra large steaks with Rodar. Yes, the Zero Company cooking stream. Today we're gonna be making a Zero Company steak, and it's like, wait, what does this have anything to do with Zero Company? Alright guys, well, I think I'm gonna be pausing the stream soon. I've been streaming for a bit, not a whole lot of XCOM today, I know. It was mostly just getting hyped for Zero Company. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing our Zero Company stream. 11 a.m. p.m. Eastern time is when it releases for me, and I'll be starting the stream about 30 minutes earlier, so around 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. And thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for the XCOM stream today, sir. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to have given you guys all the XCOM content. Till next time. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bro, you've been streaming for 2 hours. It's been a short stream. Yeah, I've been working on so much stuff on the sides right now. Like, so much stuff on the sides. And by working, I mean I've been telling Claude to work on things for me for so long on the sides. Alright, then. Till next time, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Happy Zero Company tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.